Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So recently we had a Senate Budget Committee hearing, and in this we actually had different senators asking questions to different witnesses, questions about the Social Security program, what's currently going on within it, just different numbers, at least financially speaking, and ways in which they can improve the program. So one of these senators who was up there asking the questions included Senator Rick Scott. And of course, he represents a state in Florida with a lot of retirees, a lot of people receiving Social Security benefits. So obviously he had a lot of questions in regards to the program. And one of the questions he was asking, of course, is how much spending we've had over the past few years and how much spending has actually gone up by. And one of the other questions he had is how much of a shortfall this year that Social Security has. And he actually found out that Social Security this year has a shortfall of $145 billion. That means that the money going out to all Social Security beneficiaries versus the money that's coming into the trust fund, there's a shortfall of $145 billion. Now, thankfully, we have a lot of money saved up in the reserve, so right now we don't have like a lesser amount that will have to go out. But according to numerous reports, within the next, like, say, 10 years, unfortunately, there is going to be that shortfall there, where there would have to be a cut of anywhere between 20 to 25% when compared to what beneficiaries would normally receive during that year. So we're going to go ahead and play this full video by Rick Scott questioning the witness, and then we're going to come back to talk about it.
Dr. Swigel, how much in dollar numbers, how much is to go back to the 2019 budget, Biden's proposed budget this year, how much is that? How much increase would that be in the total spending?
Total spending from 2019. I don't have 2019 in front of me. It's gone up. Spending as a share of the economy and in dollars.
It's about I think it's about $2 trillion. Okay. Wouldn't that be close?
It's in the trillions. That's right.
Yeah. So, Mr. Cox, how much would it cost this year to fully fund where there was no deficit in Social Security? However you do it, how much dollars are we talking about just in this fiscal year?
Yeah, this year the cash deficit was I had it before me, $145 billion is what we have this year.
So we've had a $2 trillion increase in our budget, okay? And to fix Social Security, we could have taken some of that money from other programs and put $145 billion, and that would have fully funded Social Security.
That's the primary deficit this year. So that's in substance what we're
just
drawing
for 1 year.
from the
Just
trust
for
fund.
1 year.
That would be just for 1 year what we're drawing from the trust fund.
Right.
That's in substance the cash gap.
Right. And I think everybody would agree that this is a pretty big issue for every American thinks about this. Whether, maybe my grandkids don't think about it much, but I think anybody's thinking about their retirement. So what do you all think of Joe Biden's proposal right now? What do you think of his proposal to fix Social Security? What do each of you think about it?
During the presidential campaign,
No, the one like in his budget, the one he would have this right now in his budget.
I don't believe there is anything.
I said we analyze the president's budget every year, and we did not analyze any Social Security proposals.
So he has no proposal to fix Social Security, one of the biggest issues. He's the sitting president of the United States. Number two, that's the first question. So in the budget, when they came and talked about the budget, what was the response when anybody asked about what they were doing to fix Social Security? Did they say what they were doing when they came and talked about it, when OMB came and talked to this budget committee? So
I don't know, that's beyond the role of CBO.
right.
But
so we've said here we've increased our budget by $2 trillion in 5 years. All right. Right now we could fix Social Security with some of that money. It would take $145 billion out of $2 trillion, and there's not one thing that Joe Biden has done to fix it.
Yeah, and just to make sure that the 145 is the 1 year cash balance. There's lots of other
But the budget's up $2 trillion, right?
Yeah, no, and we of course we would analyze any proposals. So.
Right. So, I mean, I think that what's frustrating here is we know this is one of the biggest issues we have. We've seen an unbelievable increase in our spending and been nothing by this president to do anything to solve it. So Mr. Chairman, I think we ought to go back to what Senator Johnson brought up. Let's all sit down and talk about this in our entire budget. If the biggest issue we've got is retirement benefits, which I think most Americans would say it's one of the top 3 issues they're dealing with. It's inflation, it's retirement benefits, and medical bills. And this committee, I think we have every opportunity to solve it. So I hope we'll take that opportunity.
So obviously there is a very good point there made that spending has gone up by $2 trillion since 2019. Yet we had this $145 billion shortfall within the trust fund. Now I'm sure surely they could have used some of the increase in spending towards funding this shortfall. But again, it seems like the Social Security program, unfortunately, for whatever reason in Washington, is just not a top priority. So instead of putting any money towards the Social Security Trust Fund to, shore up the shortfall that's currently there, or make the program better, or even increase benefits, which a lot of people really need, instead they put it towards other resources. And, I can think of just in the last year alone, in 2022, we spent $113 billion towards the war in Ukraine. So, $113 billion to Ukraine in 2022, not a single dollar towards Social Security. And $113 billion towards Social Security would have gone a long way to shoring up the $145 billion shortfall. Now, there's also another senator out of Kentucky. His name is Rand Paul, and every single year he publishes a report basically going over different, wasteful spending that the federal government unfortunately has. And a lot of these are really laughable, I have to say. So just out of the wasteful spending, out of the numerous things that the government has spent on that we really don't need, includes the National Institute of Health spending $2.3 million injecting beagle puppies with cocaine, and separately spending $187,500 to verify that kids love their pets. The Department of Health and Human Services spent $689,222 to study romance between parrots. The NIH funded a $3 million annual research project to watch hamsters on steroids fight. And the U.S. Census Bureau spent $2.5 million on Super Bowl ads. Now, you look at the amount of money that the federal government is spending on these things, very pointless things. It just looks like a billionaire that's just, extremely wealthy, throwing his money at the wall at whatever. But yet, the federal government is $32 trillion in debt. Should we be spending that much money on these other things when we have programs like Social Security, which in 9 or 10 years is going to have to cut benefits by 20 to 25%? Shouldn't we be saving money instead of injecting beagles with cocaine? To me, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but let me know what your thoughts and comments are below on all of that. Now, of course, we also have a bipartisan plan right now in Washington, but the leaders of the plan, and Bill Cassidy and Angus King, are looking at the current president, Joe Biden, and saying that he's really not doing enough to get this thing done, that he's not willing to sit down on the table with them and really look at their plan in all seriousness. So Bill Cassidy, it says here, according to Fox News, is the top Republican on the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. This year, he was also a leader in a bipartisan working group for a proposal to extend the life of Social Security, which projections say could be insolvent by 2033. However, he said President Biden has made it clear he is not interested in even bipartisan proposals to ensure the sustainability of Social Security. He said, quote, "You have to have a president who's engaged in order to accomplish any of this. And if we have a president, as we do now, who doesn't want to do anything, he makes the right comments, but then you look at his proposals, they're not serious, then there's no reason to do anything." So obviously, until we have a sitting president who's willing to sit down with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to hash some type of negotiation out, come up with some type of bipartisan compromise, then unfortunately nothing is going to get done, and then 2033 is going to come around, and whatever we're receiving then, unfortunately there is going to be a cut of anywhere between 20 to 25%, which is something that is definitely just not something that can end up happening. But let me know what your thoughts and comments are below on all this. Do you believe that Biden or Trump should be sitting down at the table with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to make sure that the Social Security Trust Fund is shored up? That way we don't have the cut of 20 to 25%. But that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.